Alright, let's get this straight from the get-go. Canada. That big, sprawling landmass you see sitting pretty atop North America. A lot of folks, especially our good neighbors to the south, sometimes get us a little mixed up. They think we're just like them, but maybe we say sorry a bit more and have better healthcare. And sure, we share the longest undefended border in the world, which is a heck of a thing, really. We watch a lot of their TV, eat some of their snacks, but trust me on this one, we are not just America light. Not by a long shot, my friends. There's a whole lot more to us than meets the eye, or what you might see on a quick trip to Niagara Falls. You see, it's easy to look at a map and think, well, they're right there. How different can they be? We speak English mostly. We like our coffee, maybe a donut with it. We drive on the same side of the road, thank goodness. But beneath that surface, oh boy, there are some real differences. It's like thinking a Labradoodle is the same as a poodle, just because they both have curly hair. They're both dogs, sure, but they've got their own quirks, their own personalities. And Canada, let me tell you, has a personality all its own. We've got our own stories, our own heroes, and our own way of doing things from coast to coast to coast. Now, I've heard all the jokes. America's hat, real original, that one. Or that we're the quiet, unassuming apartment dwellers living above a really loud party. And yes, sometimes we are a bit more reserved. We're not always the loudest ones in the room, but that doesn't mean we don't have a lot to say. It just means we might wait for a polite moment to say it. Or we'll say it with a bit of dry wit that might just fly over your head if you're not paying attention. We're a complex bunch, full of surprises, and we've been quietly building a pretty unique nation up here, while everyone's been looking elsewhere. So, stick around. We're going to peel back a few layers of this Canadian onion. We'll look at some of those surprising differences you might not have known about. From the way we talk, to the things we eat, to how we see the world. It's not about saying one is better than the other, not at all. It's just about understanding that Canada is its own distinct place, with its own flavor, and it's a flavor, I think, that's pretty darn special. You might even find yourself saying "eh" by the end of this. Who knows? Let's dive in, shall we? Let's talk about politeness, because that's a big one. You've probably heard that Canadians say sorry all the time. And you know what? It's mostly true. We say sorry if we bump into you. We say sorry if you bump into us. Sometimes we even say sorry for the weather, which is just plain ridiculous when you think about it. But there you have it. It's not that we're always genuinely at fault. It's more like a verbal tick, a way to keep things smooth and friendly. It's like social lubrication, making sure interactions don't get too abrasive. Better to say sorry than start a ruckus, eh? It's just part of the national character, woven into our daily chats. Then there's the way we talk. We've got our own little quirks in the English language. That famous "eh" at the end of a sentence, that's us. It's like a verbal question mark or a way to make sure you're still with us. We also say Z instead of Z for the last letter of the alphabet, which confuses some folks. And our money? We've got loonies, our $1 coin with a loon on it, and toonies for the $2 coin. Much more colourful than just calling them dollars, if you ask me. It adds a bit of fun to an otherwise boring transaction. These little things add up to a distinct Canadian accent and vocabulary that you'll notice pretty quickly. And food. Oh, Canada, our food. We're not just talking maple syrup, though we do love our maple syrup on pretty much everything. I'm talking about poutine, that glorious mess of French fries, cheese curds and gravy. If you haven't tried it, you haven't lived. Or ketchup chips. Why the rest of the world hasn't caught on to ketchup chips is beyond me. They're a national treasure. And Nanaimo bars, butter tarts. Our sweet tooth is legendary. While Americans might have their apple pie, we've got our own unique comfort foods that tell a story about who we are and what we like to munch on during a long winter. It's funny how these everyday things can highlight such big differences. You go to a coffee shop in Canada, you'll probably order a double-double. That's 2 creams, 2 sugars, from Tim Hortons, our beloved coffee chain. It's practically a national institution. In the States, it's all about Starbucks or Dunkin'. Little things like the names of chocolate bars. We have Coffee Crisp and Smarties that are different from American Smarties. These aren't earth-shattering, monumental differences. But they are the small, everyday textures that make life in Canada uniquely Canadian. They are the threads in our cultural fabric. Now let's dig a bit deeper than just chips and apologies. A really big deal in Canada is something called multiculturalism. It's not just a fancy word politicians like to throw around, it's how we try to live. The idea is that Canada is like a mosaic, not a melting pot. In a melting pot, everyone kind of blends together and becomes one new thing. But in a mosaic, all the different pieces, people from all over the world, keep their own colors and shapes, and together they make a beautiful picture. We celebrate different cultures, foods, festivals, and languages. It makes our cities vibrant and our communities strong, or at least that's the goal we're always working towards. Our history also plays a huge part in who we are today. We didn't have a big dramatic revolution to break away from Britain like our American friends. We kind of ambled into nationhood a bit more gradually, keeping our ties to the monarchy. That's why the king is still on our money, you see. And a huge fundamental part of our history and our present is our relationship with Indigenous peoples, First Nations, Inuit, and Métis. It's a complex history, with a lot of pain and a long road towards reconciliation, but it is absolutely central to understanding Canada. Their cultures and contributions are vital to this land. This history shapes our traditions too. For example, our Thanksgiving is in October, not November. Why? Well, it's tied to the harvest season, which comes a bit earlier up here in the Great White North. And Remembrance Day on November 11th is a very solemn and important day for us. We wear poppies and observe moments of silence to remember those who served and sacrificed in wars. These aren't just holidays, they are markers of our collective memory and values, distinct from the 4th of July fireworks or American Thanksgiving turkey trots. They reflect our own journey as a nation. So when you see a Canadian flag, it's not just a piece of cloth. It represents this idea of a country built by people from all corners of the globe, trying to live together respectfully. It represents a nation with a unique path, one that values peace, order, and good government, that's literally in our constitution. It's different from life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, though we like those things too. Our approach is just a little more, well, Canadian. We're still figuring it all out like any country, but the commitment to that multicultural mosaic is a pretty big piece of the puzzle. You can't talk about Canada without talking about hockey. Seriously, it's practically a religion here. For many Canadians, hockey isn't just a sport, it's a way of life, a shared passion that brings communities together, especially during those long, cold winters. From kids learning to skate on frozen ponds to cheering on our favorite NHL teams or the national team in the Olympics, hockey is in our blood. It's where we learn about teamwork, resilience, and the sheer joy of a well-placed slap shot. It's more than a game. It's a cultural touchstone, a unifier, even if we argue about which team is best. Then we have our national symbols. The maple leaf, of course, is the most famous one. It's right there on our flag, bold and red. It symbolizes pride, connection to nature, and the changing seasons. It's simple, elegant, and instantly recognizable around the world. But we also have the beaver. Yes, that industrious buck-toothed rodent. It might seem like a funny choice, but the beaver represents hard work, perseverance, and the early fur trade that was so important to Canada's history. It's a nod to our past and our connection to the vast Canadian wilderness. These symbols aren't just pretty pictures, they tell a story about our values. And who can forget the Mounties? The Royal Canadian Mounted Police, with their striking red serge uniforms and their wide-brimmed hats. They're an iconic symbol of Canada, representing law and order, and a certain stoic, dependable Canadianness. Now, the reality of policing is complex, like anywhere, but the image of the Mountie is a powerful one, both at home and abroad. It speaks to a sense of duty and a connection to the vast, sometimes untamed Canadian landscape they were originally tasked with policing. They are part of our national mythology, for better or worse, instantly recognizable. So what makes Canadian identity so special? It's a mix of all these things. Our politeness, our poutine, our EHS, our multicultural mosaic, our history, our love for hockey, and our cherished symbols. We're a country that values community, diversity, and finding a quieter way to make our mark on the world. We're proud of our peacekeeping traditions and our stunning natural landscapes. It's not about being better than anyone else, it's about being uniquely ourselves. And that, my friends, is something worth understanding and celebrating. Canada, a little different, a lot special, and definitely more than just America's hat.